Beep beep. Hi you guys, it's Rhea. And today I wanted to do something a little different. I want to talk to you guys about something I'm extremely passionate about. So, drum roll please. It's astrology. That's right. If you guys know me, you know that I'm really into astrology, that I check the transits every day, that I'm always on top of what's going where and what's doing what, and I wanted to give you some insight on a little topic in astrology today. And the topic that I'm covering today is the Aries sun sign. Now, Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, and I want to give you a little bit of an explanation of what would happen if your sun was in Aries. Now, to get a good idea of what this is, I'm not just going to give you some, everyday explanation of what Aries is. I'm going to actually give you a more in-depth explanation of what it means to have your sun in Aries. Now, first, we have to look at the planet. What is sun? Sun is your soul. Sun is your willpower. Sun is the sign of the king, of the throne. Sun is the planet of self, who you are, what you're about. And sun is one of the main aspects in your personality in astrology. There are three major aspects of your personality in astrology, which is your ascendant, your moon, and your sun. And sun is just the very basics of who you are. It's not completely who you are, but it has a lot to do with what your soul wants out of life. Now, what is Aries? Aries is the sign of the soldier, the sign of the king. It's the first sign of the zodiac belt, and it's the sign of self. It's a fire sign, and it is a really fiery sign. It has a lot to do with action, going out and doing something, accomplishing something, wanting to be something. It's athletic, it's type A, it loves control, it's very fiery, it's very random. Aries doesn't think as much as it thinks it does. Aries would probably be the first one to run into something, Aries is probably the definition of look before you leap. Now, what does it mean when these two come together? Well, let's see. It means that your willpower, who you are, what you want out of life, deals with Aries. You could be a really fiery person. You could be a really excited person, a person with a lot of, personality. You could be very big, very loud. You could love being the center of attention. You could be a little aggressive sometimes. You might not think as much as you should. Sometimes you may just jump into something without paying attention or, looking at every single detail. You may overlook a lot of things, but, the big, fun, love life personality really makes up for the whole look before you leap thing. It does. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, I'm an Aries, but I don't seem like an Aries. So what's that about? I'm not fiery, I don't like the spotlight, I'm not an attention seeker, I'm not athletic. Well, that's because there's a lot more than just your sun sign. Now, in Aries, a sign goes from 1 to 30 degrees, and within that little area, there are different aspects that affect it. Now, between 1 and 10 degrees in Aries is considered exalted. Now, the sun is exalted in Aries no matter what, but especially between 1 and 10 degrees. Between 1 and 10 degrees, there are no other outside aspects on Aries, it's just Aries. So, if you were born within the first days of Aries, most likely you'll be that fiery, sort of go at it, action, athletic person. But if you were born within the other times of Aries, you might not be as loud or as crazy as the beginning Aries. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Another big point about sun is that sun can represent the father, the authority figures that you run into in this life, your interaction with government, how you handle being told what to do. Now, with this sign in Aries, you could have a really interesting relationship with your father. Your father could be really athletic. He could love sports. He could be really into government. He might not be a government official or a government worker, but he's really interested in what the government is doing, in our country and other countries. He's just very interested in government. Another thing with this is that you could really have a hard time being told what to do. Someone could tell you what to do, and you won't really like being told what to do. You might have a hard time listening to authority figures, especially if you were born within that 1 in 10 degrees of Aries. You might have a really hard time with that. But that's okay, I said, all in all, Aries is a wonderful sign. Aries is a fire sign, and fire signs are the signs that initiate things. They're the signs that go forward and do things first. They're the signs that say, you're not going to do it, so I'm going to have to. And we need those kinds of people out there. We do. And that's why I really love the fire signs. It could just be because I'm an air sign. That could be the reason why I really like fire signs. But all in all, I really do love fire signs. Let me see. Is there anything else I missed about Aries? Well, like I said, you could be really athletic, or you could come from a really athletic family. You could be really into sports. Even if you aren't athletic yourself, you could know a lot about sports. Oh, and Aries is the sign of the soldier, so you might be really into military activities. You might want to be a soldier. That could be one of the things, since your soul is Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the soldier. Yeah, you could be a really type A person. See, there's two extremes with Aries. You could be type A completely or type B completely. There's not really a time when there's anything in between. You're either a control freak or you don't want any control at all. I see that a lot with the Aries. Well, I'd have to say that's pretty much about it. Aries is fiery, Aries is full of life. It likes to be in the spotlight. If you're not born between that 1 and 10 degrees, if you're born within the next 10 degrees or so, you're more of a philosophical type. Oh, no, sorry. If you're born within the next 10 degrees or so, you're more of a type that just likes to be out and enjoy people. You like talking to people. You like enjoying the luxury of life. You're still really fiery and kind of aggressive, just not as aggressive in the first 10 degrees. In the last 10 degrees, you're more of a philosophical type. You're not as aggressive as either of the other two. You're really more chill. You like to think about the mysteries of life, You're a really calm person. And, well, I'd have to say that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Beep beep. Have a beep-tastic day. Bye, everyone.